So, you've been riding clipless pedals for a little while now, but you've been having a few issues. There's a few things you just can't quite get your head around. Well, don't worry, people. I'm going to explain a few common clipless pedal mistakes and how to overcome them today to get you riding smoother, faster, and having more fun. Using clipless pedals can, of course, be a great addition to mountain biking or your mountain biking, but it's not without its dangers. Yeah, we don't want to be doing any of that. So let's start things off with cleat position. Now, before we get cracking, we need the cleat, which is this metal piece that attaches to the pedal, if you like, to be in the correct position. And that's done so by screwing it to a plate on the inside of the shoe and then sliding it around on two rails that can be seen on the bottom of the shoe. Then, by doing that, you can move it backwards and forwards and actually left to right a little bit. Now, if this isn't set up correctly, it can cause pain and soreness in your knees and sort of other joints, ankles throughout the leg. Ideally, you want it set so it's just below the ball of your foot and that the cleat is fairly central on the shoe as well. Having this as a base start position will avoid putting too much strain on your calf, but obviously everybody is different, so tweaking this position, especially over a little bit of time once you get using it, may be required. It's also important to get the shoe and pedal combo correct here. It's kind of a horses for courses affair, if you like. Certain types of shoe work better for certain types of pedals and for certain disciplines. A great example is a cross-country shoe. Now, this is very lightweight, very kind of aerodynamic, if you like. Minimalist, boa to kind of do it up nice and tight, and a very stiff carbon sole. Still see a lot of tread on there if you have to walk about or run with your bike on it, as often you do in XC races. But it's very minimalistic, very little protection as well. And this is often paired up with a pedal of similar sorts. You can see that there's not very much to a cross-country pedal. You've got the mechanism you clip into, you've got the axle, the bearings are tucked inside, and that's basically it. There's not much protection against hits or kind of impacts, anything like that. And they just click and work together, nice and lightweight. An enduro combo, or a downhill combo if you like, well, let's take a look at that. Look at that then, that's kind of a typical enduro or downhill type shoe. The Shimano GE9 is very different from that XC9 shoe I just showed you. We still got a boa kind of closure system here to do it up, but we've got this big secure Velcro strap, so there's less stuff to kind of damage there. Reinforced around the toes, much firmer, stiffer materials, a more flexible sole so you can kind of feel what's going on underneath you. Whilst power transfer is important, so is feel of what's going on. And you can see that it's wider, this shoe itself, and that pairs up nicely with our enduro/downhill pedal. Now, this is a Crank Brothers Mallet E, and you can see that when it's sort of combined, you've got a much bigger platform. It's the same mechanism in the middle, if you like, but look at this big protective cage all around it. This is actually an LS, a longer spindled one as well, so it sets your foot further away from the crank. You've got these adjustable metal pins everywhere which bite into the shoe, so that if you actually are unclipped, you can still kind of ride it as if it's a normal flat pedal. Pedals and cleat are now set up and you're looking good. You're ready to head out onto the trails, right? Now, the mistake I often see people making is actually not really understanding how the system works and how to actually clip in and out. So, well, how do we do it? Clips are a fairly simple system, and by knowing the mechanics of something, you can then better understand how to use it. So, you push the metal cleat on the bottom of your shoe into the pedal, toe first. Once it clicks in place, you're attached. To detach, you simply twist your foot or twist your heel out to the side, and then out it will pop. Now you've got an understanding of how the system works. To avoid that awkward toppling at the beginning or end of a trail when you're stopped, find somewhere nice and flat or steady or smooth or something you can lean on, like this big old tree here, and just practice clipping in and out. So it is heel out. Oh, well, there we go. That was straightforward. Toe in, and there we go. Do you hear the little click? And out, and in. There we go. Perfect. Hey. Oh, missed it. Hey. I'm a pro now! Right, we're now starting to dive into the good stuff, the things that we might get a little bit wrong riding clips when actually out on the bike, being a little too reliant on them, shall we say. So then, you're now attached to your pedals, or perhaps you have actually been for a long time riding clips. Well, you can actually become a bit lazy or forgetful about your foot position and neglecting where it is on the pedal, and because of this, it can have a knock-on effect of your body position. It is, of course, very different to move your foot around when, well, it doesn't vary much. But this can be changed depending on what type of cleat that you use. Different cleats can offer different levels of float, or how much your foot moves from side to side. When you're riding flat pedals, you always have the ability to kind of shift your foot exactly where you want it on the pedal to be, well, in the correct position and give you the correct body position. For example, when you're riding something rough and rowdy, you'll naturally shift some weight backwards to stop you flying over the bars, and also that'll end up dropping your heels to force more weight into the pedal. When you're riding clipped in, because that worry of your feet jumping around or shifting out of place or where they shouldn't be is eliminated, you tend to not drop your heels as much, therefore not shifting your weight back on the bike and kind of throwing your body position out of where it ideally should be. Just remember the next time it gets rowdy and rough that you want to drop your heels ever so slightly. This is going to force weight down through your legs into the pedals and into the ground, giving you extra stability and a great body position as well. Clipless pedals can make bunny hopping easier and subsequently jumping as well. But it can make it go a little bit wrong. Let me put it this way. Do your hops look like this? Oof, ouch. Well, if they do, you're far too reliant on being attached to your pedals. Fear not, it just requires a little bit of going back to basics and looking at that bunny hop technique. So for a really in-depth video on how to do it, well, I've linked that in the description down below. But if you want to know the basics, well, watch this. Oh, the proper technique, though, is essentially the building block for being able to hop, manual, and jump correctly, all essential skills when it comes to mountain biking. When it comes to learning the correct technique, I would 100% recommend doing it on flat pedals first. That way you'll learn the proper way of doing it, and you can't cheat. There's no getting away with just pulling up on the pedals, and you'll learn good muscle memory so that when you transfer it over to being clipped in, you'll do it correctly all of the time. A lot of people will stay seated way more than they should because, well, they can. They can kind of get away with it, especially being attached to the pedal. It means you can rely on that kind of push-pull momentum to just plow through things rather than actually get up out the saddle, move your body around and sort of apply the power only when it's needed. This reliance on the pedals then can cause you to lose traction because you're not getting up out the saddle and shifting your weight where it should be to give you the most grip over the wheels where it's required. A great example of this could be potentially a loose or technical climb. So when you're going up something like this, if you're just sat down mashing away on the pedals, you might find that either the back wheel will start to wheel spin or that actually the front end gets very, very light. It's because you're not getting up and shifting your body weight around. You're just relying on pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling, as opposed to shifting your weight over the wheel that might require more or less grip at the time of climbing. In scenarios like this, I like to think that clips are a great addition in sort of getting me through a section, but not the be-all and end-all. That actually comes down to skill. If you find yourself relying upon that power, as I said, then really it means that you probably do need to get up out the saddle and work on things like line choice, shifting your body weight around. So maybe switching back to flats and trying the same section for a little while could be a great way of going about sort of practicing that technique. But anyway, there we go. Those are some sort of top mistakes that people maybe make whilst riding clipless pedals. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel to keep bringing you great content on a weekly basis if you like. But for me, for now in the woods, thanks for watching.